Hi friends, welcome to another vlog. In this vlog, we are trying to figure out if I am a short story girly. I've decided to pick up a couple horror collections, a couple horror anthologies, just to see if short stories really do work for me, because I have had success in past with like a collection from an author, but I haven't really tried an anthology with like different authors. So I figured let's experiment, let's do it. I want to like short stories quite a bit, but I find it hard to like prioritize them over other novels, so I figured this would be a good way to just like prioritize a couple and really get my thoughts down about whether I think I am a short story girly. Like, do I like them? Should I be buying anthologies more often? Things like that. So come on this little journey with me and this little experiment to see whether short stories really do work for me. Also, I should say that some of the reason I thought about doing this too is because I think that no one talks about short stories on YouTube, and I was trying to look for more people who do talk about like anthologies on YouTube, specifically horror anthologies, because horror ones work for me and fantasy ones don't work as often. But there's that. Let's just get right into the vlog and see what I'm reading. There's a plane. I don't know if you can hear it. Anyways, I'm heading out to Staples this morning to pick up some pictures that I printed out. They're not really pictures, but I'm hanging some stuff on my wall. So I printed those out at Staples and I'm just gonna go pick them up. Pretty self-explanatory. But I have started Screams from the Dark. I think I've read the first 5 stories, so I figured I would tell you about them. I did find the audiobook on Scribd and I am enjoying the audiobook. Screams from the Dark is 29 Tales of Monsters and the Monstrous, and I have been liking, there's a lot of discussions on what makes a monster and if the monster in that story was the monster or was that human the monster. Personally, the introduction really grabbed my attention. Ellen Datlow is the editor, and her last line of the introduction got me. Like, I was like, I'm gonna be addicted to this collection. I'm gonna read you the last little paragraph. What's most interesting to me as a reader is the range of monstrousness that exists within ourselves, and that we impose on the creatures unlike us that we name monsters. Monsters are our mirrors. In them, we see who we hope we are not, in order to understand who we are. That like sums up what I want in a horror book, I feel like. I love that a lot. Like a lot. So the first story is You Have What I Need by Ian Rogers. I gave this one a 4-star. It was a very unique approach to vamps. It almost reminded me more like a zombie, but still with like a lot of the vampire stuff that we love. I thought the writing was really good. I 100% would be willing to try more from Ian Rogers. I really just like liked the flow of this story and the themes and the ideas brought to it. I thought it was really interesting. The second story is The Midway by Fran Wild, and I gave that one a 3-star. I did enjoy it, but I did feel like the pacing was off a little bit for me. I did really like the discussion. In this one, we have a really big discussion on who the real monster is, if it's the monster or the man. I really liked that vibe. The third story is The Wet Red Grin by Gemma Files, and I originally gave this a 2-star. It has a little 2-star tab. And I said the writing didn't really work for me, and I said it was slow to pick up and end happened really quickly. The thing is, though, I've been thinking about that short story for like the last 2 days. It keeps coming up in my mind how like terrifying that actually is. I'm trying not to like give away anything, but we essentially have a discussion on wanting to live forever and the things you will do to live forever and immortality and things like that. And I think a lot of like monstrous behavior comes from our selfishness, and I think wanting to live forever in this is like very selfish, and I think I'm gonna bump that up to a 3-star, and I think I would try something by Gemma Files again, even though like I didn't love like the pacing or the writing of this one originally. It definitely has stuck with me a lot. The fourth story is The Virgin Jimmy Peck by Daryl Gregory. I ended up giving this one a 3-star. Again, I really just enjoyed some of the like nuance to it. It has a lot about like pregnancy and what is expected from pregnancy, that the expectations men put on women in pregnancy and things like that, and I really liked how that was portrayed in this one, and it definitely made me cringe a lot of times, and I was like, oh no. So there's that. I have read the 5th story as well, which is The Ghost of a Flea by Priya Sharma. Sadly, this one really didn't work for me. I think I'll be giving it a 1-star, maybe a 2-star. I honestly really tuned this one out. Like, the writing just did not work for me. It was very like classic gothic, and I think that type of horror just doesn't really work for me as much, so that is just why. Those are the first 5 stories, and overall I'm really enjoying this collection, and I've been thinking about the short stories. Like, I would love the first story, the vampire one. I would love a full story about it. Like, love. I would die for a full story about that short story, because I loved the take on vampires. Anyways, we're gonna go pick up my thing from Staples and probably read a couple more of these and then update you in a little bit. My frames are up, and I did end up at IKEA, and I bought a new comforter because although I just bought that beige one, I wasn't like vibing with it. So I bought a green one, which I'm in love with, and my lamp was in stock. However, I think I'm taking those off. I think I'm going to hang these on this little wall that's empty that I couldn't figure out what to do with. I need something bigger on that wall. Like, it needs to be covered a little bit more than it is, and those just like aren't doing it 100%. So I think that's my plan, is to like get something bigger to put up there and then put those here, but that's not gonna happen for a really, really long time because I'm lazy. So I'll hopefully remember to update you when it does happen. You guys meaning YouTube, not this vlog. But I am excited to have a lamp. I need to figure out what I'm doing in this corner too right now. It just has my laundry basket, but it probably needs a table. Don't mind my craft dinner box down there, so that this one doesn't lick it clean after I eat it in the middle of the night. So yeah, that's your update on these. I have read a few more in this collection, so let's talk about it. And while we talk about it, let's pull up my spreadsheet, because yes, I made a spreadsheet for our anthology video. I need to say props go to Kayla from Books and Lala, because she is what inspired this entire video. She's also the creator pretty much of this spreadsheet. I literally paused on her video, looked at her spreadsheet, and copied it because I liked it. There are some minor changes, like the editor and the collection rating at the start, but other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same as hers. So I will not be giving the spreadsheet out to anyone. I just copied it off Kayla, so thank you, Kayla. I have just put in some of my initial ratings into here that you can see, and you can also see, spoiler sneak peek, that I have actually started the next collection. There are some ratings down here, but just ignore those for now. Let's just like zoom in so you can't see them. Where did I leave off on? I think I did 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next one was The Atrocity Exhibitionist by Brian Hodge, and as you can see, I gave this one a 3. This one left me feeling so disgusted. I actually wanted to turn this whole entire audiobook off when I was listening to this book. Like, I did not like my reading experience reading this. However, that was kind of the point of these characters, so I ended up giving it a 3. Like, my gut reaction when I finished it was to give it a 2 because, like, I wanted it over so much because I just felt like so deeply disturbed by these characters. But like, that was the point. So I ended up giving it a 3. I definitely think I would try more from Brian Hodge because that feeling of just like feeling so sick while reading, because I did not want to read about what was happening, but like I feel like that's what I'm looking for often. The next one is The Father of Modern Gynecology, and this was just too much about human horror for me. I prefer supernatural horror, so I was just kind of bored because I wanted there to be more of a supernatural element, but it was more about like human horror. That's exactly why the next short story also only got 2 stars from me, Here Comes Your Man. Same thing, I just wanted a little bit more supernatural. I like when having those supernatural monsters showcases humans being terrible beings, but I don't necessarily not want the supernatural monsters, if that makes sense. That's my own reading preference, just playing into these 2 stories. And then Scylla by Siobhan Carroll, I ended up giving 3 stars. I didn't love the pacing of this one, but I loved the intrigue and the elements of it. I thought it was really interesting. I liked the ideas within it, and I was kind of like, oh, what's actually happening? Which I really liked that idea of like not knowing exactly what was happening. However, like the pacing was just off. There was like these like parts that were like a flashback to some other time. Like the first line of this is 1658 Scotland, and then there's like a quote, and those like flashback quotes really like didn't work for me, and they just broke the narrative of the story for me. I actually also have read What is Love But the Quiet Moments After Dinner as well, and I give this one 3 stars. Another vampire book I really enjoyed. There was some really cool elements in this, cool discussions again about which person was the greater monster, and then also a very good twist at the end for me. I did like this writing style. I was really intrigued about what was happening. There was a little bit of insta love in it, which was, I think it could have been a 4-star without that, but like, how do you get past insta love in like a 20-page short story? Like, there's no way to build on that connection enough. I think it could have been like 15 pages longer and I would have really enjoyed it. Felt like it might have been a little bit too short, but overall I had a good time with that one, and that's always a good thing. So those are our next 6. How many did I just go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our next 5, and I will probably check back in with you at our next 5 as well. I went to Chapters and I bought some books because they currently have a 20% off all horror. It's obviously what Chapters counts as horror, so I feel like there's some things that don't count. That ends up being 30% off because I am a Indigo member and I get 10% off all my purchases. So I have been buying books quite a bit. I went to Chapters today and I bought 2 books, but I also bought 3 books online. So I will have some books coming and I'm really excited about them. I bought The Return by Rachel Harrison. I actually pre-ordered, that's one of the books that's coming, the new release by her, Bad Sheep, whatever that is. So that's coming, but I wanted to have this one as well because I've seen a lot of people who don't like the rest of Rachel Harrison's stories still like this one, and this one really interests me. I think it sounds like really creepy vibes. Julie is missing, and when she returns, her best friend realizes that Julie is not the same Julie, and I think that that sounds really creepy, and I'm really interested to see where this leads. And then I also bought a Paul Tremblay to try. Paul Tremblay blurbs a lot of my favorite horror books, so I figured why not try him. I asked my friends what they thought. Kaylee said she had tried this one, another one, and Cabin at the End of the World, and Lexi told me that I probably won't like the ending of Cabin at the End of the World, so I decided to pick up A Head Full of Ghosts. This does sound very interesting to me, and why not? Then I also pre-ordered The Nestlings to come, even though I've already read it. I never pre-order, so this is really weird for me, but I couldn't resist the deal, and I picked up an Eric LaRocca as well that is still coming that I bought online. However, we're here to talk about the short story collection. I'm DNFing it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I think I've read about 7 stories since we last chatted, and 1 has been a 3. The rest have been a 2-star. And I just did not want to come on here and like talk about all these 2 stars that I'm giving this story. And I think that this collection just really isn't for me. I find that it's really too literal. I like a little bit more like spooky and atmosphere in my stories, and this is very much like on the nose. The monster is either like a monster like a vampire or a werewolf or a giant, or the monster is the human. And I think I just like a lot more weird in my horror books. I like a lot more supernatural. I like a lot more just like spooky atmosphere than what we're getting in this. Like, these feel really dry to me. They almost feel more like a classic written style than like a modern day style for the most of them. I'm just not having a fun time with them. And I was like, why am I suffering through this? Like, why? I literally have the audiobook going on and I'm like, I just want to turn this off and like not read. And like, why am I putting myself into a slump when the whole point of this is like, do I like short stories? Obviously I didn't like this collection, so like let's move on to the next collection and see if I like that one. I feel like that's a solid idea, so we're gonna go do that right now. So close to me. I survived, I think. Hi, I just got home from one of our haunted house things in Edmonton. So it's called Dark and it happens at 4 Dimension Park, which is like a historic park here. It's like literally a place you can go to like learn about our history and stuff, and it's really interesting. It's really like interactive. I really like it. But the month of October they turn it into like a scare fest, and they essentially have 3 scares that you can go through, as well as like scare zones and like a DJ and like these other things, and it was fun. The one was really scary. I definitely jumped a few times. I giggled a lot because I've learned that when I'm scared my instant reaction is just to giggle. I don't know what that's about, but I just like suck at regulating my emotions. I cry all the time for no reason, so giggling just seems up my alley too for some reason. But I figured I should probably tell you about Found, which is an anthology of found footage stories that I've been reading for this video. I've only read a couple, but so far I'm really liking this anthology collection. Honestly, I was really scared that I wasn't gonna like it because I often don't like mixed media. I just prefer a narrative style, but it is really working for me in short story concept. I think that it adds to like the creepiness and the vibe of it. The first story was 2 months too long, and that was done all within like text messages and emails, and I really liked having it in that style. I did enjoy this one, however I wish it had been a little bit longer for my own personal liking, just to like add to like the creepy atmosphere. I ended up giving that one 3 stars, but I really enjoyed it because it is what it is. It's just like really short in my opinion. The second one was Face Down Death Volume 5, and I gave that one 4 stars. I did really enjoy just like the creepy vibe of this. I like that it added in like VHSs and stuff like that. I thought that was like a really interesting spooky element that it had. I enjoyed the pacing of this one. I feel like suspense just kept building and building for me until like the plot twist at the end. Definitely liked that one. And then the next one is Junk Pickup, which I gave 5 stars. This one like got me. Like I think the ending of this, like the story, like the idea behind it, and like buying something like vintage, what? Spook level 10 out of 10. Like I just like really enjoyed the concept behind the story. And again, I liked the VHS edition. I thought it was like cool to see like home movies, and that's something like we don't really do anymore, the same style that they used to, so I like liked seeing that. Disappearance at Coal Hill, I ended up giving 2 stars. This one was kind of boring to me. I just like didn't really love it. It didn't really add up to much to me. This was done through like Reddit forums and interviews again, and I do like having those like Reddit forums. I think the Reddit forums were cool, and like seeing what they named the Reddit users and stuff like that added to like the fun and the scare factor. But the ending of this I think was a little too unsure for my own liking and ambiguous, so wasn't a favorite for me. And then I read The Veiled Lady, which I also gave 3 stars. I liked the writing style of this one quite a bit. I thought that it was very engaging, and the author's like tone was really good. I felt like I instantly knew and connected to the characters, which is like hard to do in a short story because these are like really short, and I do think I like a shorter short story. Sometimes when they drag on, I'm not the biggest fan, especially if you like don't like one and it's like 40 pages long and you're just like, ugh. But sometimes I also want them to be longer. The Veiled Lady I think was about the perfect length though. I liked the tone, but I didn't fully, I do feel like the ending of it was rushed a little bit, so maybe I shouldn't say it was the perfect length because I wished that the ending was less rushed. But the last line of this one, pretty good. Pretty freaking good. So those are my first 5 in the found footage anthology, and I will update you when I've read 5 more. I am so far feeling very good vibes from this one, like very, very good vibes. I'm really excited. The next story is Clay McCoy Chapman, and I've read and loved a book by Clay McCoy Chapman, so I'm very excited for that one because I hope it's like really weird again. Like I hope it fits like the Ghost Year vibe. Anyways, I need to shower because I smell like campfire, and I like need to like get the like scares out of me. Just go giggle in the shower to think about all the people that jumped out at me. Some person was under the bed and they like crawled up from under the bed and reached for your foot. And they got like really close to you. Like they said they wouldn't touch you, but like sometimes I was like, dude, personal bubble. But like also, I'm terrified. One girl talked to me and I talked to her back, and I think I confused her. She asked me how my day was and I just had a conversation with her. It was a great time. If you are in Edmonton ever, I definitely recommend going. I probably will go again next year. It was my first time going. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. My father literally makes the best noodle soup. This one is made from a rotisserie chicken, but we often do it turkey after like Thanksgiving or something. And I cannot live without it. I love the like big chunky noodles. He makes his broth from scratch. It's so freaking delicious. So while I eat my lunch, I'm just going to be continuing on in the found footage anthology. I'm really enjoying this one. I will update you. I think I have 2 stories, and then I'm going to update you on all my thoughts. I got a super exciting package. I've been waiting for this. I've literally tried to order this like 3 times, and I always miss it when it's in stock, and it was finally in stock, and I'm so excited. This packaging is also so freaking cute. I don't think you guys are ready. Some stickers that were sent, and just like a little thing, but with your name like handwritten on it, which is very nice of a small business to do. It's so freaking cute. It's a Karma is a cat sweater, which if you don't know, Taylor Swift song Karma says, Karma is a cat laying on my lap because he loves me. And we have a little cat in a jack-o'-lantern with some bat wings. It's so freaking cute. I'm so excited. I'm about to go put this on right now because coziness. However, before I do that, let's update you because I have read 5 more short stories. Okay, so the next one is Spew of News, which was the short story I was most excited for in this collection, so I'm kind of sad that it did a little bit let me down. I gave it 3 stars. This is from Clay McCoy Chapman, so that's why I was like really excited for it, because I loved Ghost Eaters so much. I just felt like this was on the nose too much. I liked the ideas behind it, but it really just felt like a satire, and it felt too in your face for me that like I didn't love it, and I wish there had been a little bit more of hidden meaning to it than like exactly what it was trying to say. Was funny because of what it's trying to say, but I just wanted a little bit more like up to interpretation-ness to it. That's all. And I think a lot of people won't like this story because of what it's trying to say, but if you didn't like the story because of that, that's telling. And then we have Ghost Town Adventures, which I gave 3 stars. I thought this one was creepy, like really creepy. And like, could you imagine just like a ghost town like that? Terrifying. Literally terrifying. Like, what happens in this one was so creepy in my opinion, and I loved the idea of it being like a YouTube video that was like uploaded and like that's it, and it's like, is it real, is it fake? But like I believe it was real, and I'm really liking the found footage style of these. I think found footage really works for me when the entire thing is found footage and there's no like story going as well. And then we have Regular Saint, and that was a 2 star. Like, that was, what was the point of that story? Like, I was not a fan. I like just, it was boring. Like, it didn't even really tell you anything. I think it was too ambiguous for me, because like, it's just like, what can you imagine happened, in my opinion? And I didn't love that one. I definitely wouldn't want to read more from the author, which it kind of sucks because like, at first I was really intrigued, and then we got to the ending and I was like, that was it? Like, that was it? And then we have Walls and Floors and Bricks and Stones, which I gave 3 stars? 3.5 stars actually. I liked the idea behind this, and I think it's like really creepy that like you're building a home, and what if the home was also building you, and like that style. And I thought that the idea in this one was really like creepy to think about. Like, I'm just describing everything as like really creepy because it is. I liked the like just like emails and the transcripts and like seeing like the video footage and stuff like cut out like that. I thought that was really interesting. And I don't know, like this one, just like the idea of buying the wrong house is so creepy. I love a good haunted house story, so I think that this one really worked for me because of that. Should I give it a 4 star? No, I should stick with my 3.5, but like it was good. I enjoyed that one. And then we have The Summons, and I think I'm giving that one a 5. I was gonna tell you it was a 4, but the more I think about it, the more I really liked it. It just gave you like exorcism vibes, and it was great and incredible and amazing, and like the religious cult scenario is also something that I just find like very deeply fascinating and satisfying to read in horror books, so it just like really worked for me. I liked the writing style in this. I liked that we were like in court and like the prosecutor asking questions and then the other person being like, ask that again, that's blah 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 blah, you know. I really liked the format of this one quite a bit, and it like really kept me engaged into like what was about to happen. I liked our main character in interview style, so like hard to say main character, but I liked her tone of voice, and she felt scared, so I also felt scared while reading it. I really liked that. I definitely would read from this author again. There's our next 5. I'm putting on my Karma's the Cat sweater, and I'll update you with our next 5. I've read 3 more short stories, and I was just gonna update you on these 3. Although I'm having a really good time with this short story collection, I think the problem for short stories with me and why I don't think I'll ever fully be a short story girly is like, how do people just pick them up? Typically like starting a book is so hard in my opinion, but once I've started a book I can fly through it, and it's like I'm starting like 30 books in this, and so like once I finish my short story, if I put it down, I find it impossibly hard to pick back up and like think, let's read this now. Like it just like doesn't really work for me in that element, because like I just like have no reason to stop watching TV and pick up my book because I have to reinvest myself every single time, even though I'm really enjoying them. So like, yeah, I don't love what's happening here, so let's handhold this. We have Green Magnetic Tape, which I gave a 3 star. I liked the vibe of this, but again, a little bit too much of an ambiguous ending for my own liking. I kind of wanted a little bit more explanation, but I was like sufficiently like wondering what was going down in this one, so I did really like that element. And then we have Accidents of a Sort, which I gave 3 stars. I thought this one was interesting. I really liked the scene that we see, like that was like really cool. I liked some of the concepts that were discussed in this. There was some deeper meaning, I think, being described, but overall the ending just felt a little bit too rushed to me. Again, maybe just a little bit too ambiguous for me, but like I still really enjoyed my time with it. And then we have A Grave Issue, which I'm giving 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. The Reddit threads really work for me. I've learned that a lot of the stories that I like have like Reddit threads in them, and I find them very entertaining. I love seeing the amount of like inspo that actually comes from Reddit. Like there's a lot of personality in a Reddit forum, I find, and these books are capturing that very well. Overall, really enjoyed this one. The idea of like a haunted book really got me, and I liked seeing these people just like communicate again and again on Reddit. I really enjoyed that. I like that they even had like a bot. That was fun. Yeah, I really liked this one. Definitely a 4 from me. I would definitely read from Bev Vincent again. And that's the next 3 that I've read. So I'll update you. I think that there's only 5 more and then I'm done this short story collection. And overall, I'm really enjoying my time with it. Okay, so I read the last 5 short stories. Let's talk about them. The next one is the Novak Roadhouse Massacre, and I did give this one 3 stars. I felt a little bit out of this one, but still just like overall enjoyed it. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. I think it just is what it was, and that's just like all I can say about it. And then we had this video was unavailable, which I gave 2.5 stars. It just was another one where I just like went meh. Like it was okay, but I think this one for me wasn't well explained enough. Like I couldn't decide if they were going supernatural or human horror. And I think that's the point of the short story. Like I truly do think that you're supposed to like be speculating the entire time, including after. But that just didn't work for me in my like logical brain. I wanted to be able to say like one or the other. That's a very like personal thing for me, why that one didn't work for me. And then we had Dear Penny, which I gave 5 stars. I really liked this one. I thought this one was really freaky. The idea that like you're figuring something out after it's too late to do something really worked for me. This is also human horror again, which I enjoy. I do like the idea of just humanity being terrible people. So this one worked for me. I would 100% read from this author again. I really enjoyed this one. I also liked the like diary format of it. It was a different type of format that we hadn't seen in this collection already, and so I think that also made it like kind of stand out to me. Then we had The Pal, which I gave 3 stars, and I don't remember a single thing about currently. And then we have A Small Hand Built House, 5 stars. This was easily the best short story in this entire collection. I would give it a 6 out of 5 if I could. Like I loved this short story. This one kept me on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my god, I could feel for this woman. Like if this was her experience, I felt like I was inside her head experiencing this with her. Like it really worked for me, and I would honestly recommend this entire collection just for this short story. Sad to note, I don't think that there is other stuff by this author for me to read, but I will definitely be checking out for future short stories. Overall, I'm giving Found 4 stars. There were some that didn't really work for me, but I think more worked for me than didn't, and I had a couple 5 stars in it, a couple favorites. I really enjoyed my time reading this. However, I found it really hard to like pick back up again. And that being said, I was gonna read one more anthology, but I have decided not to. The idea behind this video was trying to figure out whether I was a short story girly, and I still don't think I have the complete answer to that, because I did like my experience reading them. I did really enjoy the short stories. I think that they're fun, but I think that there's a time and place for me to read them. I think reading them in something like a 24-hour readathon would be very good, where like they're really quick to read, but I'm sitting down and reading in one big section of time and I'm reading it all at once, just because I found it really hard to pick the collections back up, and I was wanting to pick up like an actual story instead, just because I have a hard time like starting stories. So I was like, well, once I'm already into a story, I like want to continue reading, and I didn't have that feeling with this collection, with any of these collections. Like anytime I finished a short story, I just was like, okay, let's go do something else. Like it just doesn't work for my type of reading, and I'm typically a reader where like I sit down for hours and I read, instead of just reading a small amount every single day. So I was gonna pick up another anthology, but I just like don't want to. Like I just would rather read a real novel at this moment in time. However, I plan on reading them in future moments. Like I really did enjoy my experience reading them, and I want to read more. So it's not that I'm not a short story girly, but it's maybe a time and place. Like I might need just the right moment to read them, and not just like a video that's all short stories. Just didn't work for me as much. So yeah, there's that. That's the end of this. If you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me the video camera emoji. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstore, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon, all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.